Hey everyone, this is a hard story for me to tell due to how much it still dwells on me. Back in the summer of 2018, me and my friends were all around 20 years old, seeking an escape from the mundane routines of our lives. So we planned a getaway to our friend Jack's cabin, nestled in a small town in the middle of nowhere. Little did we know that this trip would take a turn that none of us could ever have anticipated. Excitement filled the air as we arrived at Jack's cabin. The rustic charm and seclusion of the place instantly captivated us. Eager to kickstart our weekend, we wasted no time cracking open a few beers, their coolness providing relief from the summer heat. Laughter and camaraderie flowed freely as we reminisced and caught up on each other's lives. As night fell, a sense of adventure gripped the group. The beers had taken their toll, making us feel bold and carefree. It was then that Jack, the owner of the cabin, shared a tantalizing tale about a spot nearby. A stretch of abandoned railroad tracks that once served as a lifeline for transporting goods across the United States in the early 1900s. However, technological advancements had rendered them obsolete, leading to their closure in 1955. Intrigued by the historical significance and fueled by our buzzed state, we unanimously decided to venture towards the abandoned train tracks. We stumbled through the town and darkened forest, guided only by the small number of streetlights that there was in this tiny town. The tracks lay at the bottom of a steep hill next to the town's library, beckoning us to explore their forgotten secrets. As we reached the bottom, the group unleashed their inner children. Laughter echoed through the night as we ran along the tracks, making jokes and just being our drunk selves. The combination of alcohol and adrenaline fueled our enthusiasm, blurring the line between recklessness and enjoyment. However, as the night wore on, some of us, including myself, realized the lateness of the hour. The initial thrill had given way to fatigue, and it was time to make our way back up the steep hill toward the cabin. Reluctantly, we bid farewell to our playground of nostalgia and began the ascent. Then, Johnny, one of our friends, decided to inject a touch of dark humor into the proceedings. He lay down on the abandoned tracks, pretending to prepare for an incoming train. Chuckles erupted from the group, but as we reached the top of the hill, our amusement waned, replaced by impatience as it was getting cold out, and we all wanted to go back to the cabin and to bed. "Come on, Johnny, enough is enough. Let's go," we shouted, urging him to join us. However, he remained motionless on the tracks, disregarding our pleas. We didn't know if he was blacked out drunk at this point, or just trying to continue the joke, but none of us found this funny. Suddenly, the stillness was shattered by a distant noise, a haunting symphony of metal against metal, carried by the wind. I turned to the group, my voice trembling as I asked if they could hear it too. Their eyes widened in confusion and disbelief, wondering if it was merely a figment of our imagination. But as the noise grew louder, our confusion gave way to panic. The once distant sound morphed into an ominous rumble, the ground beneath us quivering in response. In the distance, the flickering lights of an approaching train pierced through the darkness, steadily growing brighter. Horror painted our faces as we realized the truth. This was no abandoned track, but a live railway line, in use once more. Desperation welled up within us, and we screamed for Johnny to move, to get out of harm's way. He scrambled to his feet, stumbling and swaying under the weight of his drunkenness and shock. Time betrayed us as Johnny slipped and fell, unable to regain his footing in time. The train thundered towards him with an unstoppable force, its monstrous presence devouring the distance between them. Our hearts pounded in our chests, the overwhelming dread of the inevitable suffocating us. In a split second that felt like an eternity, the train collided with Johnny, the impact leaving his body broken and lifeless in its wake. We all stood there frozen, our voices lost to the night. With the shock wearing off, we began to sober up and we dialed 911. The piercing sirens of the approaching police cars shattered the silence, intermingling with our cries of despair. As the authorities arrived, their expressions a mix of anger, disbelief, and sorrow, they questioned our actions, demanding to know what had possessed us to venture onto an active railway line. They explained to us that the railroads a couple years back were put back into use. We were all in complete shock as we turned to Jack, the one who had told us these were abandoned. He claimed he hadn't been up to his cabin since he was a kid and had no idea. The truth unfolded, exposing a tragic convergence of events. a fateful prank, an ill-informed journey, and the resurrection of a once-abandoned railway line. The weight of responsibility and remorse settled upon us, burdening our souls with the consequences of a night that would forever haunt our memories. The summer of 2018 would forever serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the irreversible repercussions of a single moment's misjudgment. In the aftermath of that tragic night, we vowed to honor Johnny's memory by living lives that embodied caution, responsibility, and a deep respect for the consequences our actions could bear.